Hello and welcome to the first of our top tips sessions. We're going to start off with some tasters to give you an idea of what's coming soon. Look out for the follow-ups, but for now, I'm going to hand over to Kirsty and she's going to go through 10 top taster tips.
Thanks, Mark. Try and say that quickly. So let's have a look at our first taster tip. So we're going to be looking at Windows and looking at primarily clipboard history, but there are other functionality available within here. If you press Windows key and V after you have done a copy or a cut, what that will do is to bring up this window. And we're currently looking at the last icon, which is clipboard history. Now we will cover the other icons on other top tip sessions, but let's look at the clipboard history. So here at the clipboard history, that will then show you literally a history of everything that you have cut or copied. Now, you will also notice the top one is the most recent, but here on the right-hand side, you do have the ellipses and you also have the pin icon. If you click onto the ellipses, it will allow you to delete that particular history of that copy or that cut, or you can press the pin icon. That will then select the pin, make it a black pin, and then you've pinned that so you can't then delete that particular one. But really useful. Think about how when you copy, you have to paste it in order to do another copy. And sometimes you want to go back to a previous copy. We've never been able to do that. Since now we've got clipboard history, we will be able to do that. So remember that one. That's a really good top tip. Okay, so we're going to have now looking at Windows 11, but I don't know if you've noticed this. When you do then upgrade and come to Windows 11, you will find all of your icons are now in the middle of the taskbar. Now, it might be something that you really like. It may be that you don't like it. So you can change that from the center and move those icons back to the left-hand side of that taskbar. And to do that, all you need to do is to go into your settings. Now, I presently have my settings icon here on the taskbar, but obviously you can go to your normal start menu and search for settings that way, or you can use your search icon and search for settings that way. So there's multiple ways of doing the same thing. But I'm going to go into settings and I'm going to now look for personalization of the taskbar. When I click into that, there's loads of different things and you can do this in your own time. Look at the different options you have with regard to personalizing your taskbar. But one of them that we do want to highlight to you is you can then change your taskbar alignment. Now, I've changed mine to the left, but you will notice that if yours is in the center, it will stay center. So do remember that you can change from center to left, or you might then want to change it back to center. Another Windows 11 one for us, Ready, Set, Focus, is basically your clock. This is a really new, I would say, innovative feature that I will warn you, some of you might think it's a bit of a Marmite feature. You'll love it or hate it. But what you can do is if you go and search for the clock on your taskbar using the search icon, that will allow you to go to this clock application. And what you can do is you can, for example, have focus sessions. So if you wanted an hour focus session, you can change this time, for example, to an hour. You can even have breaks within that hour. So if you need to get up and start walking for 5 minutes within that hour, you can set those breaks, or you can skip breaks. You can then have a log of all your daily progress of all the different focus sessions you've had, depending obviously if this is a personal account or work account, but you may have access to Spotify, and you can also listen to Spotify music and podcasts when you're having these focus breaks. So do have a look at the clock, really, really useful. Another one of Windows 11, and this is a really quick, simple one, but just be aware you do have the tips option within here. So if I go to my search icon on my taskbar, type in tips, as soon as I press enter, that will bring up all my top tips in Windows 11. So if you have just recently gone to Windows 11, need to know all the different things that you can do, by all means go into tips and that will show you all of the new functionality that you can find within Windows 11. So do have a look at that one. Now, last thing about Windows, which you may not be aware of, in Windows previous versions of Windows to Windows 11, we used to have updates, and it was rather annoying that you used to go into Windows if you hadn't been there for a while, and you used to have to wait some time while it did an update for you. This is now shifting. So Microsoft are now saying that they're going to do a really big update once a year. All the smaller updates that they will do apparently are also going to be 40% smaller, and they will happen in the background. So you no longer have to sit there and wait while it does an upgrade for you. So that's really good. We look forward to that one and seeing that and using it within Windows 11. Now, thinking about other applications we have in Office 365, most of us or a lot of us do use Microsoft Teams. Now, a lot of people are not aware of, yes, you can go into your chat icon on your app bar and you can create a new chat. The issue that I have with that is if I'm in the middle of doing something within Teams and I want to send, for example, Mark a chat, I don't necessarily want to come out the screen I'm in to go and click onto the chat icon to then find Mark within the list, to click onto Mark to then send him a quick chat. Then, once I've done that, have to return back to my original screen. So a lot of people forget that in the search bar at the top of Teams, you have the option to type in // commands. And we can do that for chat. Let's have a look. So the first thing is, if you go to your search bar at the top of your screen then and click into the search bar, you can then type in / and chat. This is going to allow us now to send a quick message to a person, but stay in the screen that we are currently in. So type in / and type in chat, and then press enter on your keyboard. As soon as you do that, it will then prompt you to type in somebody's name. And in this case, I've now started typing in Mark. Now, again, just note, depending if you're using this functionality at work, it will go to the global address list. Obviously, if you're using your own personal Teams at home, it will go to all of your contacts that you've created within Teams. So here's Mark in my case. All I'm going to do is either carry on typing on his name, or in this case, I've only got one Mark in my list, so I can just click onto Mark, or you can press enter. As soon as I do that, it's now got / Mark Thompson. I can now type in what I want to send a quick chat to him. And in this case, all I wanted to say is, are you available for a quick chat? Now, you will see I've made a spelling mistake in here. I can edit in here if you want to. If I've made a grammatical mistake, whatever the case may be, I can change it. It doesn't mean I can't go back to the original chat at a later time in the chat icon and also change it there. So just be aware, yes, you can edit this once you've typed it in, but as soon as you send it, if you need to change that mistake, you would have to go back into the original chat icon. But in this case, I'm not really bothered. So all I'm going to do is to click onto the send button here to the right-hand side or press enter on my keyboard. So that's a really good way of sending a really quick chat. The next thing is, which a lot of people are not aware of, and I've said this is in Teams, but to be fair, you can do this in many Office applications, for example, Word, Excel, and so on. Now, if you open up a document, so in this case, I've opened my document from Files in Teams, but you may have just opened it straight into Word or Excel. If you look at the top of that application in what we call the title bar will give you the name of that file if it's been saved. Now, if you have saved this in your OneDrive, then what you can do, you can click onto the drop-down arrow. And when you click onto that drop-down arrow, it will allow you to change the file name if you want to. You can also change the location. But more importantly for us for this tip, we've also got version history. And a lot of people would go into SharePoint, they would go into OneDrive and go all the long way to go and change or look or compare versions. You don't need to. So if I now click onto version history here, this will then show me all of my version history. And you should then see, for example, it's given me today's date, it's given me all of my versions, and I might have multiple versions in there. If I wanted to look at a particular version, you will see I've got the option of open version. And as soon as I do this, and this is where it's really, really useful, look at this bar down below. It's now saying this is the previous version, but what I can do is I can compare and I can restore. So if I wanted to compare this version with the most recent version, I can, and it will show me the changes, and I can restore to the earlier version if I want to. So do have a look at that, really useful. But just remember that is where you've got your file name on the app, or the, should I say, the title bar within that particular application. So thinking about Teams still, we've also got Taskbar. Now, again, there are multiple ways of doing things in Microsoft, which I'm sure we're all aware of. But are you aware of, for example, if you go to your taskbar and find the Teams icon, if you right click on that Teams icon, that will give you a new menu. And in that menu, there's quite another number of options. You can change your status from busy to free, out of office. You can start a new chat. You can go into settings and look at all of your settings for notifications, privacy, do not disturb, and so on. You can sign out. Now, one thing we will say, and Mark and I say this a lot within our working life, is always, if you are having issues with Teams and you're finding perhaps something isn't correct, you're finding that something's not being updated, it might be to do with the caching of your Teams. So if you do experience any issues with Teams, we always suggest, first of all, click on to sign out, then sign back in. And a majority, and a good majority of the times, that will sort the issues out. So do remember, sign out can be a useful one. Yes, you can quit out of Teams. If you do have multiple tenants, you can switch between your tenants. You've got pin to taskbar if you want to pin Teams to your taskbar, or you can close all your windows if you had multiple windows within Teams open. So do remember, right click on your Teams icon on your taskbar and you do get a number of new options. Now, still sticking in Teams, and this again is a really quick tip, but a lot of people forget this one. Let's imagine you're in a chat and you might have, I don't know, 60 people within your chat, and you now want to schedule a meeting with those 60 people. The last thing you want to have to do is to create a brand new meeting and then have to invite all those people. So what you can do is if you go to the chat, you'll have a schedule meeting icon. If you click onto that schedule meeting icon, that will now open up a new meeting screen for you to fill out and complete as you would do with a new meeting. But what it is going to do is to put all of your participants from your chat, so you don't have to add anybody in. If you then also need to perhaps add somebody else into that chat, by all means you can do it. But certainly if you've got 50, 60, 100 people within that chat, surely that's got to be a quicker way of arranging a meeting with those chat participants. We've also got Teams personal notes. Now, a lot of people are not aware of this. So we know Teams is about collaboration, we're sharing information, but occasionally there might be a time when you want to add your own personal notes to Teams. You want to keep them in there and you want it for your eyes only. Well, you can do that, and it's what we call a wiki. Now, if I go to the ellipses on my app bar within Teams, I should then see I've got my wiki icon. If you don't see the wiki icon, not an issue. You can go and find an app, type in Wiki, and it will find it for you. But in this instance, we do have Wiki. All I'm going to do now is to select Wiki. As soon as I do that, that will open up a new screen. And the only thing I'm going to say to you is Wiki, yes, it's brilliant for personal notes, but it's a very basic tool. It doesn't allow you to have your text flashing or pink or green or underlined. It is basic notes. So think of it more like a scrapbook than perhaps like OneNote where you've got loads of functionality. But what you can do is you can create your own personal notes or view personal notes. You can also view all recent notes. You can view all notes as well. But let's imagine I go to personal. If I click onto personal, it would view and show me all of my own personal wikis that I've created, but it also allows me to create new ones. So I can have untitled page, I can create untitled sections. Just by clicking onto those would allow me then to title that page or section. bottom left-hand corner, you will notice I can create new pages within the wiki also. So again, really useful. The only formatting you have is this ellipses in the top left-hand corner. But when I say formatting, it hasn't really got any formatting. This is more about functionality. So you can add a new page, you can add a new section, you can copy a link, and you can delete that wiki. But that's all you've got. So the tip I would give you, if you do want to use the wiki as a scrapbook, you can use copy. So if you do have a table, you do have a picture, or you might have a hyperlink that you want in here, you can just copy that information, paste it, and it will then allow you to paste in that particular item with that formatting applied. So remember, Wiki's really useful. So that's it, Mark. There's our top 10 tips. Over to you.
Okay, Kirsty, that's brilliant. So, folks, if you've liked what you've seen, have a look in the notes where we break down each topic and you get more information. For now, I want to say thank you for watching, and Kirsty, thank you so much for delivering that.
Thanks, Mark. Bye.